We started out in Ireland. That's where my family came from. And from Ireland, they went from Brooklyn to New York. And then we came to Michigan. So I went from Ireland to New York to Michigan. And this is my mother and father. Let's see, I'm your pop, right? So they're your grand, whatever they are. And this is Nanny and I when we first got married. And this is your daddy. and that's Uncle Mike. And this is when I went to St. John's University when I went to school, and that was a picture of it. And that was when I was in the Army. And Ryan always asked me if I shot anybody. I shot lots of guns.
You should have said, you should have I didn't shoot anyone.
Yeah, I know, I would never do
No,
that.
that's sad.
I wouldn't want to, yeah, exactly right. You're
not
100%
that
right. Well, it depends, and this is where we lived. I lived in Prospect Park. That's my mother and father and me and my sister. And that's when I was born. I was a little baby. And I used to go ride in my wagon at Prospect Park, and that was my little wagon, and they used to take me around. And that's when I learned to ride a bicycle. And this is when I was in the Army.
Wait, how long was this ago?
Well, let's see, I'm 80 years old. You know how old that is? That's pretty
80,
old.
Right?
Yeah, it's pretty old.
70.
75, 77, 79, 80.
Something like that.
Oh, yeah, I know.
75.
I remember, Ryan, when I asked you how old I was when I showed you my veins. And you were a little boy then, and you thought about it for a while, and you said you thought I was 17. And here is when Nanny and I got married. That's a picture of us in the back of the car. And this is we were mimicking. There's some famous picture where the guy showed the pitchfork and the shovel, so I was mimicking that, or making it like that. And that's Nanny and I when we both had hair on our head.
Yeah, okay.
And this is your daddy and Uncle Mike when they were little kids. And look at them here, my boys. And here they were here. And here they were here. And this is when Uncle Mike became an Eagle Scout. And your brother was a scout. I mean, your daddy was a scout in the Boy Scouts. And this is when I was in Japan. And these are friends of mine. And I was on the subway in Tokyo. We were on the, and this is all the guys I was in the Army with. And they were just great. And I was the only Catholic. They used to drive me to church on Sunday, and it was it was a Jewish guy, one that didn't believe in God, Protestant Catholic, and there was the four of us who were always together. We were friends to this day, and they still came and saw them. And this is when I worked for General Motors, and then I was in Japan. That's me in Japan, and they got all the stuff there. And I was in Chamonix. I was in Switzerland a long time ago, and they mimicked Mr. Smith, who was the chairman of General Motors. You wouldn't get that yet. And this is friends of mine when we used to go skiing at Cranbrook. And that's when I used to run, and that's when I had my running shirt on, and we went running in Cranbrook. And that's where we went camping. I used to drag your father up to go camping on us.
We don't go camping.
Yeah, well, we'll do that another time. And this is my mother and father. And that's my sister. And, this is your daddy. We're over in New York City. And this is your daddy. And that's Uncle Mike. And that's me. And that's Uncle Eddie. That's Aunt Kathy's husband, who since passed away. And your Nanny and I were pilgrims in the church. One time we had to dress up like pilgrims, but Uncle Mike was sick, so he had to stay home. And there's your daddy and your mother and wherever we are. And there's when they were little babies. And here's that's your brother and Uncle Mike.
Who's older? My dad?
Yep. When they were that's the two of them when he made their first communion. And let's see. And this is Nanny and I, and this is when we went to Stonehenge. I don't think you guys know about Stonehenge in England.
I do.
You know about Stonehenge?
I've seen this YouTube video.
Yeah.
Which one?
Right here. And
yeah.
That's 2000. When we were there, you could walk up right up. We walked up to the stones. Now they have them all in a protected area, and you can't go up. But when we were there, we went under all the stones together.
Wait, what is this supposed to be?
Stonehenge, they were pieces of rock that were moved in England 2,000 years ago. and they couldn't figure out where it came from. But now they studied the rock and saw where it came from, and they were able to figure all that out. And this is when we had a place in Bonita
Somebody
Beach.
came to visit us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is when we were in London. We went into London. And then this is an Irish blessing, and that's what I wanted you to see. So that's like a little story. Yeah, oh, you can read some of those, are really funny.